Hello, witches, and welcome back to my channel. We are all channels. So anyway, this video is tips and tricks, things you can do for this upcoming dark moon. This is a new series I'm starting that is all about some witchy tips on what to do during certain dark moons, how we can connect with that energy, and the reasoning as to why you might want to do these certain things. Now, before we get started, first and foremost, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to do something for every single moon that comes up. It's totally fine to sit moons out. I feel like sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do something witchy around each moon, but really, your body knows what you need. So if you are having a rough full moon, dark moon, anywhere in between, listen to what your body wants. What do you really need to get out of your time in this moon space? So today I'm going to be talking about, if it feels energizing to you, the dark moon that's happening this weekend on the 13th. That's a Saturday. So that's going to be our dark moon in Pisces, new moon in Pisces, dark moon, new moon. It's kind of one of those things that people go back and forth on. Is it new? Is it dark? I interchange those words myself. And I will say this. Dark moons are usually times that I feel way more energized than a full moon. Full moons, I find, are exhausting for me. That doesn't mean each one is the same, because sometimes I feel energized on a full moon and sometimes I just feel worn the fuck out. And some witches feel this way. This is sometimes called a full moon hangover, where you, instead of feeling energized and like, yes, let's just get naked in the woods, you just want to fucking take a nap and drink some water, which is also a form of ritual. The more you know. And before we get into this, of course, if you follow me on TikTok, I already made a little video going into these subjects just really quickly. And I'm only going to go over really 3 rituals that are supportive. They're ones that I practice. And those are in the TikTok. So if you're like, you know what, fuck this long ass video, I don't blame you. But please follow, like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram, which is also Subnormal Child, but also TikTok, where I do a lot of my tips. Hi, how are you, little baby witches? Or maybe you're not a baby witch, but you just want to, mix it up. Fuck it. Who fucking cares, man? It's your life. It's your life. The first thing I'm going to talk about is, because it is Pisces season, we can connect to Pisces through our tarot cards. Now, I've already done a video on Pisces through the tarot, links in the box down below, so you can go watch that if you find that supportive for the dark moon. But what does that mean? What do you want to do to connect maybe during your dark moon practices? Well, firstly, you can just go ahead and take it out and put it on your altar. That's one thing that we can always do to connect with a card. If you feel like you don't get a card, or it's repeating a lot, you've been getting it and you're not really sure why, you don't really understand the card, take it out, put it on your altar. That's first and foremost what I recommend you doing. You can put it on your altar next to your bed. You can meditate with it, maybe place it on your heart or your forehead and lay down with your space. Light up a little bit of sacred artifact goodness. This is a cedar bundle that was gifted to me, so I use it when I feel called. Set your space. Clear your energy, do some breath work, do some yoga. Have that card out and just available to you, so you can just kind of use that energy in whatever way you want. Again, placing it maybe on your heart or in front of you while you're meditating. Envisioning the card while you're meditating is a really great way to connect with this energy to kind of pull in that Piscean energy in a way that makes it less woo. Because of course, Pisces, watch my video about Pisces and the moon. It's very woo energy. It's very primordial goo energy. And so we might be feeling a little ungrounded. We might be feeling more watery in this time, more subconscious shit coming up during this time. And of course, that's going to look different compared depending on where you are astrologically, where your chart is. Don't judge if your experience is different. Just know that it is however it needs to be for you. So what's another thing we can do during Pisces dark moon this weekend? Well, again, another way to connect is once you are done looking at that card, reflecting on it in your mind and you're in your body, go ahead and journal with it. What is that card telling you? What came up in your meditation? That's another thing that you can do. A journaling practice, some prompts that might be supportive for you, might be, though are not limited to it all. Of course, these are just ideas. You don't have to do any of this. Do your own fucking thing. Do your own fucking magic because you are. But a prompt that if you want something to help support you might be how to connect with your intuition more. Maybe pull some Oracle Tarot cards around that in the journal. Because Pisces is such a watery energy, I feel like, it is really important to journal, to kind of like put your emotions on paper to really see what's going on for you, what's coming up for you. And then as you're journaling, write some things that you are letting go. What are you releasing? Now with the dark moon, I like to really focus on what I'm letting go even more so than the full moon. This has been something I've been navigating and kind of changing through, but I like to really focus on what needs to go. What has to go, refocusing, growing energy. Like the dark moon is associated with the winter solstice. So this can be a really good time to say goodbye to practices that are not serving us or ideas. So letting those go, writing it down on paper is really, really important, right? And maybe also writing down, what are you going to replace it with? If you're getting rid of Netflix time, what are you replacing that time with? So that you kind of set yourself up for growth there, so that it's not just a release, but what are you also calling in? And of course, you can do this for full moon or whatever moon that you want. I just personally feel like dark moon is shadow work energy to me. So I try to really focus on what am I letting go of, what doesn't serve me, and how can I move forward in a way that really feels beneficial to my whole self. My whole body, my whole mind, and what I just can refocus my energy on. So I would separate that on a scrap piece of paper though, so because I like to burn those things. I like to do some burning on a full moon or a dark moon. I of course use an abalone shell for that, but you can use whatever feels best for you. I've cleansed this in the ocean every now and again because cleansing in the ocean is a good way to release the energies that you've been burning. There are some ashes in here. You can place your ashes in your plant containers to help nourish your plants because ash is usually good. You can also, sometimes I put it outside my doors in my house, saying a prayer of release. Of course, a note about burning intentions. Please make sure you're being safe. You're using paper that burns quickly and easily. You are not burning huge pieces of paper or very thick pieces of paper because that can get very messy. You want to be really safe. If it doesn't feel safe to burn in your house, burn it outside. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Safety first when you're being a witch. But once you have your ashes, you can discard them in a way that feels sacred to you, that feels like a good release. I also keep some of my ashes in a jar that I occasionally like pull out and just shake when I want to do some cleansing of a space. Maybe I'll make a video about that ritual just in particular. But your ashes are sacred, family. This is not just I'm gonna flush this down the toilet. I mean, you can do that, but I feel like ashes, when we're burning intentions or burning what we're releasing, all those certain things, that is sacred ash. So you can use that. You can put it in your bath if that feels supportive of you. You want to bathe in that release. And of course, if you're bathing in those ashes, shower afterwards, because you want to release that energy. You don't want to hold on to what you're releasing. You want to release it. If you're manifesting and you put ash in the water, that's totally different. I think that's way more what I use that for. But I do treat my ashes with some sacredness, some just intuitive sacredness. So that's another tip, another thing you can do. And of course, when I'm burning things, I do have some, I usually use tools that are sacred, but not using sacred people's things. So this is, sacred people's tools, I mean. So that is rosemary that I just burned. Rosemary is a great herb if you're trying to switch what you're doing, switch what you're clearing with. And of course, I don't say smudging, I say clearing, because that's not my language. That's not in a practice that is mine as a white person. And so I know people feel very differently, but if you're trying to avoid using other people's ritualistic tools, I recommend rosemary. That's one that I really use because it's something that is good for all of us, and it's not tied to any one person's indigenous practices. That's not mine that I know of. And of course, if I learn differently, I change it. Anyway, off my soapbox. I talked about baths, bathing with sacred ash. Again, you are making this, so this is sacred. This is yours. You can use this in spell work. You can use this in ritual. It's all about using the tools that are yours, that you create and you feel connected to. So if ash work is not something you feel connected to, don't use it. It's totally fine. But last little tip for the day is crystal baths. So I feel like crystal baths are a great way to kind of ground and release. I do baths with oils or Epsom salts all the time. I use sacred bathing a lot. But crystal baths specifically, I use around either full moon or dark moon. And that is because I just feel like it is more imperative that I connect with a sacred bath around those times. I just feel that that is that little bit of sacredness that I add to that ritual. If I do a sacred bath, if I do a bath at all on those days, it's usually going to be a crystal bath. And of course, I think it's even more imperative to maybe do that because we're in Pisces season and it's a Pisces, it's mutable water. So we want to make sure that we're connecting with that element maybe a little more. Of course, my rising is Cancer, so I always find a crystal bath is really important for me to feel sacred and good. It's just how I feel about it. I have a lot of connection to water, I think, because I have a few planets in in that, including my Chiron and my Jupiter. So I feel like that Cancerian energy for me is like crystal bathing. But what are some crystals you can use? Of course, it depends on what you think you need. I think if someone's like, you need to use these crystals for this during this time because blah, 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 maybe you're not feeling the need for that magic that day. Maybe you're just not. And that's totally okay. That's totally fine. I think it's really important to just pick what crystals feel good to you in that moment. So it's not about like, ooh, use these crystals because they're Piscean energy. Like, sure, yeah, grab some lab if you have it, some labradorite, use some quartz crystal. But whatever crystals feel good for you is right. Crystals I might recommend if you don't know where to start and you're having a hard time figuring out what you want. Of course, do what you want. You know, wise witch. Do whatever you want to do. Or warlock. Whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. Of course, some good clearing crystals that are also grounding for this moon might be some, oh my god, I just forgot the name of it. I'll come back to that one. Some good Lilith grounding, feminine energy is Black Moonstone. That's a really good one to connect with at this time. So that might be a good one to put in your bath if you want to connect more with your voice and your throat chakra at this time. Some blue calcite might be good. I can't remember what the name of this is. It's really gonna bother me. What the fuck? Amethyst is also a really good one to put into your sacred bath time because it is a good one for your third eye and crown. It's also a good overall crystal, so if you want to feel connected to your intuition, let's say maybe put that in your sacred bath for Pisces. But yeah, it's really up to you. And this is a type of quartz. It's the darker quartz. Is it shadow quartz? I can't remember what it's called. And this is gonna fucking bother me. Anyway, you can put quartz in your bath as well. Crystals to avoid though, please do not put selenite in your bath. If you want to use salt, just use salt. Epsom salts are great for a crystal bath, but do not put selenite. It will start to deteriorate it. Just kind of wave a selenite wand or ball or whatever you have over your bath if you want to and you don't have salt to actually put into the bath. Please do not put water-soluble crystals in your bath water. It's not a good idea. You want to use crystals that are not going to fall apart. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. This is just a few tips. Of course, there's many things you can do on the full or new moon. You don't have to do anything in particular. If you are looking for ways to connect with the dark moon more, just listen to what your body wants to do. Maybe that's just drinking some tea and writing in your journal. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. But if that is supportive for you, if this is supportive for you, please let me know in the description box down below. I know some people actually, to just address it, some people might be weirded out. I use abalone. I've had this shell since I bought it years and years ago, so to honor it, I still use it. I wouldn't buy abalone now. So just want to give that precursor. You could also use any material that is safe to use fire in. A cauldron works just as good. It's really up to you. Pyrex bowls as well, another good thing to use. But again, with that said, take some time for yourself, baby witches, grandma witches, mama witches, maiden mother, crone witches, them, and he, these, theys, and everybody else, she's, which is just do whatever feels good to you. You really don't have to do anything by the playbook. Just do what feels right to you. Don't hurt anybody else. And have a beautiful new moon. I hope this is supportive. Of course, if you want to work with me, I read cards. I do distance Reiki. So if you want to work with me, links is always in the description box down below. And have a blessed day. Bye!